With cap and gown season underway, most graduates are facing the future with optimism, but one big burden for young people can be those student loans. This morning, CompareSave.com's Tammy Ezer is here with tips on how to face the financial future. And Tammy, we're saying $27,000. That's the average debt load that students have when finishing school.
Absolutely. It's staggering to think about it.
So how can students handle this? How can they kind of forecast their new expenses moving forward?
Well, it's really important to start setting goals for yourself, paying down the loan being one of those first important goals, and to set a budget for yourself and making sure that every month you're putting money towards paying down that loan so it doesn't start looming over your head too much.
Yeah, and the idea is not to incur new debt.
Absolutely.
But having said that, being a new graduate, it might be smart to get a credit card.
Absolutely. Now is the time to start building your credit rating, because you're going to need that down the road. So you want to start doing that now for down the road. But it's really important to pay that credit card balance down at the end of every month, as opposed to keeping a balance, because credit card debt has one of the highest interest rates.
And it's all about managing the card in a smart way.
Yes.
Use it, but clear it off.
Absolutely, and you can use them to find, you can use tools to find out which kind of card to get. They have lots of different types of points, so you might be building up points that will help you with other goals. For example, saving for a trip.
Saving for a trip or saving on groceries. There are a lot of good cards out there.
Lots of good cards for that as well, absolutely.
Okay, now what about buying a car? I guess the first question is to look at whether you need a car, right?
That's the first question. Having a car is a very expensive proposition, absolutely. So you want to make that choice wisely. You want to do your due diligence in terms of researching where you're buying the car, but also make sure you factor in the cost of insurance, because not all cars cost the same to insure, and you could find that you might be down to 2 cars and you're sort of sitting on the fence. Doing the insurance check could actually make that decision for you.
It sure could, because there could be a big difference in money saved, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the idea. You want to save along the way. Every area you can, you want to be saving, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And now is the time to start creating those good financial habits that you're going to take with you into the future.
Now, what about moving? Because this is a big one, right? You finish school and you think, okay, time for my own place. That's another question to decide whether or not that's necessary.
Whether or not it's necessary, whether or not you can afford it, because there's not only rent and the cost of food and all of those things to consider, but you're also going to need insurance there as well.
So if you plan to go forward, tell me about the other things that people need to be looking at.
Well, we also need to think about the cost of moving, right? Moving itself, I love that earlier segment when they were talking about you could chip in for the cost of moving.
As a gift.
As a gift, because moving actually can be expensive. You don't want to be doing it all the time. You want to make sure that you're doing it properly. And then, of course, there's the goal of home ownership. You might want to actually weigh those thoughts. I know, you just graduated, you want to get out. You might be better off to stay at home for a little while, save up some money for a down payment, and then actually own something as opposed to paying rent.
And the other thing too is that when it comes to moves, it's sometimes we're talking far away. We're talking in order to get a job after finishing school, you might be moving across country.
Absolutely.
You might be moving, province to province. So there are high costs associated with that as well.
Absolutely, all of those transportation costs for sure.
All right, thank you so much, Tammy. Now, great gifts for Dad.
Yeah, Father's Day.